Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She walked in at 11:30 on a Tuesday, set her bag down like nothing happened, and said, "Work's on fire. Don't wait up on nights like this." Then she kissed me on the cheek and opened the fridge. "Rough day?" I asked. "Insane. We've got the quarterly review. Everyone's buried." I believed her. I heated the lasagna, poured her a glass of water, and kept my questions to grown-up levels. We'd both had seasons where work chewed us up and spit us out. I've run job sites where a rainstorm wrecked a week's schedule. You don't punish the person who's trying. You give them a chair and a plate. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have labeled that night with a red marker. She took her plate to the living room, phone face down next to it. When it buzzed, she nudged it under a throw pillow with her elbow like it was a normal way to eat dinner. I ignored it. People at her office always pinged after hours. That was my story, and I stuck to it for a while. The next 3 nights, she came in late again. The line stayed the same. "Work's on fire. Meetings piled up. Don't wait up." The pillow trick stayed too. Then a new move. When she answered a call, she stood near the window and spoke in low, flat phrases. "Is that your manager?" I asked once. "Yep." "Stop hovering." She didn't look at me. "All good." "Fine." I let it go. I tell people what I need once. If I'm not heard, I don't raise volume. I change the plan. At that point, I wasn't changing anything, just storing data. By the weekend, I had a folder full. We had neighbors over that Sunday. Nate from across the street brought his kid and a disposable tray of ribs. Lauren kept her phone in the back pocket of her jeans. Every time she laughed, the phone would beep and the laugh would fall off a cliff. She drifted toward the fence, answered short, came back with a different smile like she'd put on a mask in the dark. Nate caught my eye. Big push at her office. Apparently. Monday, she didn't take the car we usually shared on tight weeks. "Ride with Erica," she said. "We're working late. Text me if you need a pickup." She didn't. She came in after 11 again and went straight to the shower. The phone went with her. The water drowned the call. The call outlasted the steam. "Want me to heat something?" I asked when she came out. "No appetite. I'm beat." "Eat anyway. You'll sleep better." "I'm not 5. I let that sit. Next morning, I brewed coffee strong and put it in a travel cup with her name scratched on the lid. "You're good," she said, taking it without looking at me. "I'm also not invisible," I replied. She paused, then nodded like we'd agreed on weather. If I had a label maker, I'd have stamped that day. First time she treated my patients like background music. The following Thursday, I shifted the first rule. "Don't wait up" became exactly that. I stopped making late dinners. I ate at 7, put her plate in the fridge, and turned off the porch light at 10. I'm not the night shift. I work, I rest, I start again. She walked into a dark house and leftovers with a note. "Heat 30 seconds. I went to bed. "What? No hero welcome," she said at the bedroom door. "Kitchen lights on," I said, rolling over. "You mad?" "No. I'm aligned." She made a sound like a half laugh and patted away. The phone lit up the hall like a small lighthouse. Friday, I pushed the second rule. "We've been blending money for convenience," I told her over eggs. "I'm unblending discretionary stuff for a while. You're spending, your call. My call. Mortgage stays joint. Everything else, separate lanes." She blinked. "You're punishing me because I'm busy?" "Wrong word," I answered. "I'm adjusting to your schedule. If you're not here to talk through purchases, I'm not asking permission either." Clean lines. That's petty. Petty is changing streaming passwords. I'm organizing a budget. "You really think I'm out shopping at midnight?" "I think I shouldn't have to think about it." She exhaled and let her fork lie there. "You used to be easy. I used to be informed." That night she came home at 10:50, softened around the edges. She had a paper bag from a deli. "I grabbed your favorite salad," she said, setting it on the counter. "I know you ate, but tomorrow's lunch?" "Thanks," I said. "I'll take it." I might have been sharp earlier. "You were economical," I said. Clipped words save time. "Can we not do this?" She rested a hand on my shoulder. "I'm stretched thin. I don't need you turning accountant." "Then you don't need me turning detective," I returned, gentle. Clean lines solved both. Her mouth twitched. She kissed my temple and went to shower. The phone went with her. Illusion of warmth noted. I kept the lines. The following week, she added sarcasm to the menu. We were at Kara's place for a birthday. People stood around an island with bowls of chips. Lauren told a story about a client and said, "Then Mark tells me I should eat something before bed. Like he's my father." A few people chuckled. Her co-worker Erica chimed in. "Well, he's not wrong. You forget." Lauren lifted her brows at me. "See? Now I'm outnumbered." I set down my cup. "I don't count calories," I said calm. "I count honesty. Harder to burn off." The room adjusted itself. Erica stared into her drink. Kara coughed into a napkin. Lauren's smile thinned. "Wow," she said. "Deep." "Surface level," I answered. "We can get deeper, but not here." We left early. In the car, she crossed her arms and stared out the window. "Do not embarrass me in front of my friends." "Then stop poking me in front of your friends." I was joking. "Jokes have a cost," I replied. "You just learned the price." "You're being controlling." "No," I said. "I'm setting a boundary. You're free to ignore it. I'm free to leave early next time you need a prop." She laughed once dry. "I need a prop? Please. Then stop using me like one." The next day, I did something I should have done earlier. I drove to her office at noon with 2 coffees. The lobby smelled like fake citrus. The receptionist glanced up, then past me, like she wanted to see who I was with. "Is Lauren in?" I asked. "She's out," the girl said. "At lunch. She took a late morning off-site," she said, rehearsed. "She should be back later." "Does she do many off-sites this week?" I asked lightly. She hesitated. "You, her husband?" "Yeah. She's been in and out," the girl said, then looked sorry for saying it. I left the second coffee on the counter with a sticky note. I stood on the sidewalk outside and called Lauren. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, can this wait?" "I'm at your building," I said. "For what?" "Coffee." "Surprise." "Oh." A pause. "We're across town. Big client. I'm back late." "Got it," I said. "I left your drink." "You didn't have to." "Right," I said. "We'll talk later." I hung up. I didn't watch the door. I drove back to the job site and finished the day. On the way home, I called Nate and asked if he could come by Saturday morning. "Problem?" he asked. "Just a second pair of hands." "For what?" "Rearranging furniture. Tightening screws." He laughed. Translation: "You're reclaiming the house." Something like that. Saturday, we moved the guest bed to the smaller room and put a lock on the office. I installed it with steady hands. It wasn't about secrets. It was about space. If someone withholds access to themselves, you match the format. She came home mid-afternoon and found us measuring in the hallway. "What's this?" she asked. "Projects," I said. I had free time. Nate waved the drill. "Don't worry, we're not building a moat." Lauren tapped her phone against her palm. "You could have told me. You could have been here," I answered. She looked at Nate, then back at me. "You're ridiculous." "I'm predictable," I said. "When you don't show up, I fill my day." She gave Nate a polite smile that didn't reach anything and walked into the bedroom. The door shut. I heard the phone buzz 3 times in the next minute. Nate raised a brow. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm busy." He nodded. "You need a truck next week, I've got you." That Monday, she did a new thing. She changed the way she said my name. Mark, with a little sigh at the end. It's the sound people use when they want a favor they won't repay. "I'm going to be slammed until the end of the month," she said over cold cereal. "Can you handle dinners? Or just do your thing and I'll fend for myself." "I already handled dinners," I said. "I eat at 7. That tone. Schedule," I corrected. "Not tone." She chewed, then leaned back. "And can you not call my office?" That was weird. "I dropped off coffee," I reminded. "Humans do that when they care." "I care," she said. "How?" She didn't have an answer ready. "You know, being here." "You're not here," I said. "Temporary." "I'll treat it like that," I replied. "Temporary people get temporary access." She rolled her eyes. "You're staging some drama." "I'm staging clarity," I said. "It's cheaper than confusion." She exhaled and looked down at her bowl. "Fine. Tonight I'll be home earlier." She was. 7:20. She brought leftover cupcakes from an office celebration and set one in front of me. "I was ugly about the office," she said soft. "You're thoughtful." "Thank you." "Noted," I answered. "You're not easy to please." "I'm easy to respect," I said. She reached for my hand. "I'm trying." "Trying is invisible," I said. "Results aren't." She withdrew her hand and stood. You should appreciate the effort. I appreciate transparency, I replied. She moved past me and started running a bath. The phone rode her pocket like a passenger. Tuesday through Thursday, she went back to late arrivals and private calls. The soft moment didn't stick. It wasn't meant to. She had a goal, and the goal didn't include me reading her screen. Friday at noon, my foreman Rick leaned into my office. You're about to like me less, he said. Let's find out. Erica from your wife's office called. She's on a different project with my cousin. Long story. She asked if you and Lauren are good. I said I don't discuss family. She said, good, because I don't want to be the messenger. That's all. I appreciate it, I said. Close the door. I didn't call Erica. I'm not fishing for gossip. I made a sandwich, swallowed it dry, and went back to work. Then at 4:15, my phone buzzed. Lauren's text lit the screen. Heads up, urgent trip with my boss. We're flying out tonight. Back Monday. Don't worry, it's necessary. Love you. I stared at the words. Urgent trip. Friday night. Back Monday. Don't worry. Love you. She had packed the whole script into 2 sentences and a sticker she hadn't earned. I typed, when and where. She wrote, boarding late. Don't stay up. That was the moment I stopped storing data and used it. I didn't write her back. I called the front desk of her company, asked for her manager by name, and was transferred. A male voice answered. This is Caldwell. Mark Benson, I said. I'm Lauren's husband. Is she with you on a trip this weekend? Silence. Then, excuse me. Lauren texted me you two are flying out tonight for something urgent. Flying where? He asked flat. She didn't say. She said it was necessary. He let out a noise I couldn't classify. There is no trip. We don't do travel on weekends. And nobody here has been on late nights for a month. We've been holding the line on hours. If she told you there's been overtime, he stopped. I'm going to make a call. I'll make one too, I said. Thanks for being direct. Give me an hour, he said. No, give me 20 minutes. We hung up. I set my phone on the desk and watched the second hand of the wall clock tug its way forward. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Lauren. I answered. Yeah. Her voice was wet. I got fired. You also got divorced, I said. Busy Friday. What did you do? She snapped through the tears. You called him. You called him and told him you ruined my life. Do you even understand? You ruined your life when you started lying to my face, I said. I made a call to check a fact. You had no right. I have every right to protect my time, my home, and my name, I said calmly. Enjoy your trip with your boss. How can you be this cold? Clarity isn't cold, I answered. It just feels that way when you've been warm to someone else. You are disgusting, she said, voice breaking. Get some rest, I said. A lot just happened. Don't you dare hang. I ended the call. Then I stood, pulled a folder from my filing cabinet, and drove to the county building. I filled out the papers. I paid the fees. I walked out lighter than I walked in. On the way home, I called her parents. Her mom answered. Mark. I'm bringing Lauren's things over tonight, I said. She told me she's taking a trip this weekend. When she returns, she can explain. What happened? Her mom whispered. You'll hear it from her, I said. I'm not doing the play-by-play. Her dad got on the line. Son, is this necessary? Yes, I said. I'm not a placeholder. I expect honesty at minimum. He cleared his throat. We'll be home. I reached out to Nate again. Truck tonight? I asked. I'm ready, he said. You want me to shut up and lift, or ask hard questions? Shut up and lift, I said. Done. We moved fast. I boxed Lauren's clothes, books, little things that said her name. I didn't read cards or open journals. I don't need a museum of someone else's choices. We loaded the bed she liked, the mirror she insisted on, the chair she claimed, all of it. I left the joint things, plates, couch, linens. I'm not punitive. I'm surgical. Nate wiped his forehead with his sleeve. You sure? He asked at the door. I'm sure. We drove to her parents' place. Her dad opened the garage with a remote and didn't look at me right away. Stack it against the wall, he said. We'll sort later. We unloaded. Her mom stood in the doorway in a sweatshirt, hands at her sides. Is she okay? She asked, eyes on the boxes. She will be when she stops lying to people, I said. You deserve the truth. She'll give it to you when she returns from her work trip. Her mom winced like the phrasing scratched. We'll tell her to call you. She doesn't need to, I said. We're done. I drove home, changed the locks, and put her garage opener in a bag on the dining table. Then I sat at the kitchen counter and poured a glass of water. I texted her a list. Your essentials are at your parents'. Garage opener on the dining table. Locks changed, safety decision. Papers filed. If you need a window to pick up the rest, text 2 options. She didn't reply. An hour later, Nate texted, you need anything else? Sleep, I wrote. Copy that. Saturday came and went. Sunday, my sister Emery stopped by with muffins. She works in pediatric care and doesn't talk in circles. She told me she was leaving town with her boss. Emery said, standing near the sink. That sounded off. It was, I said. There was no trip. There was a habit. Emery took a breath. You good? I'm fine, I said. I'm busy. Busy's your armor, she said. I respect it. Just don't forget to sit down sometimes. I sat last year, I said. This year I stand. She squeezed my shoulder. You've always been better at closing a door than I am. I'm proud of that. On Monday morning, I dropped the garage opener at her parents' porch with a note for Lauren. I went to work and did my job like I hadn't been practicing for this moment for weeks. At lunch, my phone buzzed. Not Lauren. Caldwell. Mr. Benson, he said. I wanted to say, you didn't cause what happened here. Your wife had a pattern. HR had concerns separate from your call. She used the office for personal arrangements. That's all I'll say. I'm sorry. Not your job to apologize, I said. But thanks. If she reaches out and says we're slandering her, that isn't true. I won't be using your name in any stories, I said. We're not friends. We're footnotes. He made a grunt that might have been a laugh. Take care. You too. That afternoon, I took the wedding photo off the hallway table and put it in a box with 6 other relics. I carried the box to the attic. On the way down, I passed the mirror she'd insisted on and saw someone I recognized. Not a saint. Not a victim. A man who can live with his choices. Tuesday night, she finally called again. I answered and let the silence hang until she filled it. You dumped my things at my parents like I'm a child. You lied to my face like I'm furniture, I returned. We're even. You didn't have to change the locks. I absolutely did, I said. I'm not waking up to surprises. You broke my trust, she said. I didn't break anything, I answered. I took a picture of the room. You broke the furniture before I picked up the camera. You think you're clever, she hissed. I think I'm done, I said. And I doubt your trip is refundable. She inhaled sharply. You're cruel. No, I said. I'm accurate. You loved me last week. I loved you the week you respected me, I said. Then you started managing me like a liability. That's when I started managing my exit. She let a beat pass. I lost my job. I have nowhere to go. You have a house with your parents and a set of keys, I said. You're not homeless. You're not helpless. What do you want from me? She asked, exhausted. Nothing, I said. That's the point. Is there a way back? No, I said. There's a way forward. It doesn't include me. She went quiet for 10 seconds. I hope you choke on your pride. I hope you learn from your lies, I said. Take care, Lauren. I hung up. Then I muted the thread. I don't block people unless they're dangerous. She wasn't dangerous. She was simply done being part of my life. 2 weeks passed. Erica texted me a single sentence. I'm sorry. I didn't reply. Not my circle. Not my problem. I went to a hardware store, bought lumber, and built a small workbench for the garage. On Saturdays, I replaced the leaky faucet, fixed a cabinet door, and threw out a stack of old magazines that had sat on the living room shelf for years. Every action shrank the space where she used to stand. The house stopped feeling like a waiting room. Neighbors noticed the changes. Nate caught me on the driveway and nodded at the new lock. You look calmer, he said. I am, I said. You dating? No, I said. I'm restoring. He chuckled. You always did prefer a wrench to flowers. I'm not a monk, I said. I'm selective. He pointed up the street. We're doing a weekend fishing thing on the lake in 2 weeks. Come. It's men who tell the truth. I'll be there, I said. On a Thursday, Lauren's mom texted. She left town. Don't know where, maybe to a friend in another city. I read it and put the phone down. When someone walks out of a fire, you don't chase them to hand back the matches. I kept showing up for the life I could control. I took on an extra project at work, the kind that pays clean and doesn't keep you up at night. I started lifting with Rick before work 3 mornings a week. I brought breakfast pastries to Emery's kids on Sundays. Just the cheap kind with frosting, nothing with a brand name that would make you roll your eyes at a commercial. I stopped looking at the front door like it owed me a dramatic scene. People asked. People always ask. Kara cornered me at the grocery store. I heard you two split, she said, leaning on the cart handle. What happened? We had different rules for the same game, I said. Can't you fix that? We did, I said. I left the field. She bit her lip. Was I out of line at my party? Yes, I said. But you're not on my list. She nodded, embarrassed, and picked up a bag of oranges. If you need a casserole, I can mess one up. I'll take a conversation instead, I said. Deal. On a rainy Tuesday, I saw a missed call from an unknown number and a voicemail that started with a sniff. I didn't listen to it. I deleted it. I opened the fridge, cooked 2 eggs, and ate them while standing at the counter. The dog next door barked at air, and for once I didn't mind. 3 months later, the paperwork came through clean. No fights. No appeals. No courtroom dramatics. I kept the house, the truck, and my calendar. She kept the choices that led her out the door. People say closure is a myth. I disagree. Closure is a habit. You choose it every morning. Did she ever come back to talk? No. Our last real conversation was that Friday night when she accused me of ruining her life. She took a bag and a story and left the rest to echoes. I heard she moved to a mid-sized city 2 states over. Found a rental. Took a job at a smaller firm. I hope for her sake she's real there. It's a better way to live. As for me, I added chairs to the deck and invited Nate and 2 guys from work over for burgers on Saturdays. I got used to the quiet and didn't fight it. I spent more hours at the shop than in front of a screen. When I felt that ache you get after losing something you once planned around, I drove to the lake, sat on the dock, and let the cold air do its work. Not for drama. For circulation. I'm not in a rush to fill the space. The next woman in my life is going to meet a man who's not impressed by fireworks and not scared of winter. I don't need to explain that to anyone. People who understand, understand. Sometimes I think about that first Tuesday, the one with the lasagna and the pillow over the phone. I can still see her elbow, casual, like this was the new normal, and I was supposed to applaud the innovation. I didn't notice the lie then. That's on me. I notice now. My hands are stronger. My eyes too. You want a moral? Here it is. I can handle busy. I can handle tired. I can't handle being treated like equipment. If you want me to be in your life, hand me truth. If you hand me fog, I'll set up a lighthouse and then walk by its beam out the door. There's nothing cold about that. That's a man doing what he said he'd do when he laid down his first rule. I don't beg for respect. I build a life where it lives by default. Last week, Emery asked if I'm ready to meet someone new. Not hunting, I said, but I'll spot a good thing when it walks by and says it's real. She smiled and said that was the right answer. I didn't say it for points. I said it because it keeps me honest. I go to bed earlier now. I wake before the alarm. I eat at 7 because 7 suits me. There's no phone under a pillow in my house. If something buzzes after 10, it's a text from Nate about fishing or from Rick about lifting. If a woman joins this routine, it'll be because she likes how steady it is, not because she wants a decoy while she builds a second life somewhere else. Lauren taught me something she didn't intend. Small lies require big scaffolding. Take the scaffolding away, call a manager, change a lock, move a box, and the structure falls. It looks like cruelty from one angle. From mine, it looks like cleanup. That Friday, when she said she got fired and I said she got divorced, I didn't raise my voice or write a speech. I didn't list the pillow, the window calls, the off-site lunches that weren't. I gave her 5 words before I hung up. Enjoy the trip you invented. That was my last gift. It let her keep her story for the weekend if she needed it. It also closed mine. People think leaving is the hard part. It isn't. The hard part is noticing the moment before you must leave and choosing not to go blind on purpose. Once you choose site, the rest is logistics. I'm good at logistics. So that's that. If you see me at the hardware store with a cart full of lumber and coffee, nod. I'm not miserable. I'm methodical. If you hear I'm seeing someone, trust that I vetted the foundation. And if you ever feel that elbow, push a phone under a pillow while you heat lasagna again. Don't wait 3 weeks. Eat at 7. Turn off the porch light. Make your call. Then make your life. And then subscribe and like the video.